let's talk about why we have to drink Kangen water instead of all the bottled water and all the stuff, right? Bottled water is widely used, but it's full of contaminants, right? More than 24,500 chemicals found in bottled water. That's a lot,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Here, we're talking about NBC News, 38 chemicals found in 10 brands that tested, right? These are leading brands, okay? Like, all the brands that we know, right? And on average, 8 contaminants on each kind of bottled water. You can see the stuff like, pain reliever, because this is one of the most selling brand over-the-counter drugs, which is Tylenol, right? Uh,
Oh,
and it goes right into the water. Every time you take the Tylenol, after a day, you go to the bathroom, you pee it out, it goes into the water, go to the lake, and it comes back to the tap, right?
okay. Oh.
Yeah, plastic, chemical, solvent. Because when you take medication, the medication just masks the symptoms, and you take it again and again, right? Every day you take a medication just to suppress the symptoms, but you're not treating the root cause. And when you stop taking the medication, it comes back, right? The sickness comes
Yeah.
back. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
every time you take medication, your system filter it out and go into the water, you pee it out, and it's gone, right? And then you take it again. So a lot of people, like 60% of the population is sick of some sort, right? Some sort of sickness, right? Especially the older you get, the more pills you take, right? So
Mm-hmm.
um, and more pills go into the water, and we're all drinking it, right? So they found 325 chemicals. I mean plastic, microplastic. So
Microbial. Yeah.
yeah, little plastic like this, right?
Yeah.
And this is CBC News, right? 93%. And you see all the brands, very, very familiar brands too, right? They all found it in microplastic, right?
Oh.
On average, a person potentially can consume 1,769 particles of plastic every week. Shellfish, which is lobster, shrimp, and stuff like that, they have plastic too, right? Beer, salt, everything, right? So, drinking water, doesn't matter what kind of water, you still have all kinds of microplastic contamination. Babies, now they found that at least 10 times more microplastic in their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, right? The poor baby, because plastic is in your body, it's in the fluid, amniotic fluid, and in your blood, and it goes into the milk, and the baby, take all that, right? They don't eat anything, but they drink milk, which is, your body has microplastic in it. And here, this is another study, like it says that you may be ingesting 5 grams a week, equivalent to eating a credit card. One credit card of plastic per week, right?
Oh.
That's crazy, right? And plastic in your body, it has all kinds of problems, neurodevelopment problem, bone density, low sperm count, obesity, inflammation, everything, right? So even cancer. So all the plastics, it's really bad. That's why right now, and it's bad for the environment as well. So right now, even in Walmart now, they don't sell plastic bags anymore, right? They start reduce. And before it was free, now you have to pay 5 cents a plastic,
Yes.
right? You have to encourage people not using too much plastic because it's bad for the environment. It takes 450 years for plastic to decompose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can see here, people say, "Oh, I use glass bottle." Glass bottle is even worse. Glass bottle is a million years. Yeah, glass bottle 1 million years to decompose, right? So it doesn't go
Mm-hmm.
anywhere. And plastic, when it decomposes, what does it decompose to? Because plastic is not biodegradable. That means that when it decomposes, it's broken down to smaller plastic and become plastic dust. And then it's flying everywhere. It goes into the food and go to the water system, and it goes into our body, right? The
Uh-huh.
microplastic becomes like nanoplastic, right? So now they're talking about nanoplastic and how much plastic it is, and it's very wasteful when you're talking about because they use oil, crude oil to make plastic. 8 to 10% of production, global production is it goes into making plastic, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so plastic is all the birds are eating it and die.
Mm.
They don't
Yeah.
die because of the plastic, because they die of hunger, right? Because
Yeah.
when they have plastic in the stomach, they feel full, so they don't feel like eating, right? And they
Yes.
die because of hunger, right? So a lot of birds die of hunger. Now, tap water. You don't drink bottled water, you drink tap water, right? Tap water also is very contaminated. In Ontario, we have like Lake Ontario is most contaminated lake, right? Most of our lake are contaminated because of the industrial waste and other stuff, right? Like up
Mm-hmm.
north, it's cleaner, right? Like Lake Superior, very clean, right? But I'm not sure Montreal, like where you get the water from, but for us, it's Lake Ontario, which is like very contaminated, right? Billions of people globally are drinking water contaminated with plastic. That's like everybody, right?
Yeah.
Billions of people, right? And in the tap water, not just plastic, you have pharmaceutical drugs, like all the drugs that I told you about, right? All the radio contaminant, everything. These are things that is not being filtered by the system, by the water treatment of the city, right? And
Yes.
yeah, here's a study of birth control pills. A lot of people take birth control pills, right? And when they flush it, it goes into the toilet, it goes into the lake, and it making the fish birth control too,
Oh
right?
no.
So the fish cannot reproduce, right?
Oh,
So here's a small minnow. It's becoming extinct because a small amount of estrogen added to the lake, right?
oh.
We're making fish extinct because of the birth control pills, right? So you can see
Mm-hmm.
that, and the water in Lake Ontario, we cannot swim. Unsafe for swimming because of bacteria, right? You can see
Yeah.
bacteria levels, like, everywhere is bacteria, right? So what happened? Water with bacteria. So what we do is we disinfect. We add chlorine to disinfect bacteria, right?
Yes.
So here's a lake. It goes in the thing, and they put chlorine to kill all the bacteria in the lake, and
Yeah.
then they add chemical coagulant to coagulate all the organic matter, and then they filter sand and gravel. They add more chlorine and then more fluoride, and then they pump into the house. So you can see that it's just filtered to make it clean, but it's not. They add more chemicals in it, but it's not really filtering any chemicals that you saw earlier,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is the water treatment plant. So what happens? Chlorine is actually really bad for your health, right? Chlorine is chlorinated. When you put in the water, it becomes trihalomethanes, chlorinated by disinfectant byproduct, right? This is
Oh,
public health. Yeah. So disinfectant byproduct by chlorine, chloroform, bromoform, dibromo, chloromethane, all this stuff, right? And in
yes.
human, bladder and colon cancer are linked with these THM. THM
Mm,
is trihalomethanes, right?
yeah.
Exposure of high amounts of THM may cause like reproductive problems and birth defects. This is the byproduct of chlorine disinfecting byproducts. So
Mm,
it's crazy, right? And you think about it. Here's another PubMed. PubMed is the Library of Medicine, right? Trihalomethanes, uh, disinfecting byproduct, human carcinogen causing cancer, right? By chlorinated
mm,
drinking water, right?
yeah.
Exposure to THM occurs in oral, which is we drink, right? Dermal,
Yeah.
that's in your shower, right? In your swimming pool, we have a lot of chlorine, right? So when you swim or you take a long shower,
Yeah.
these carcinogens absorb into your skin, right? It's dermal, right? And then in the shower, you inhale. In swimming pool too, you inhale it. So inhalation as well. So we exposed to a lot of chlorine, and our lungs are target for exposure, right? So
Yeah.
basically, from the lungs, from swimming, especially swimming, they did a study on swimming when because you swim, you breathe the chlorine, you breathe a lot when you're tired, right? You breathe a
Yes.
lot, and the chlorine evaporate. That's why you smell
Yeah.
chlorine, right? So the chlorine
Mm-hmm.
evaporate, and you just smell right into the surface, right? So it's a lot of chlorine into your lungs, right? So here's bladder cancer. This is a WHO, World Health Organization. They're talking about cancer of the bladder due to assumption of chlorinated tap water, right?
Mm,
And here's colorectal cancer. It's also dependent exposure of trihalomethanes used in drinking water.